this Houston team has just been disastrous. And, you feel bad for a guy who, getting fired, he really changed this whole Texans team. This Texans team, Joe, as you remember, early 2000s, always finishing last place, always winning maybe 2 or 3 games, and Kubiak helped lead them to the playoffs. So, it's a sad time, but we all knew this was coming. Wade Phillips is now the interim head coach. I really hope they don't hire him next season to be the head coach because I really disliked him in Dallas. But they're going to have to start rebuilding this whole team again.
I agree. I think that they're definitely going to have to look in a different direction. And it's a little surprising because, the last 2 seasons, I think we saw the Texans as definitely a playoff team. Last year, they were a good playoff team. Fell off a little bit towards the end of the season. But, man, this year, everything just kind of fell apart. And Matt Schaub, it seemed like he was the guy there for a little while. Had a couple of nice moments last night, but I definitely think that they need to look for a quarterback. And there's a lot of them in the draft this year. Part of me, I think maybe Johnny Manziel could be interesting, what they would do with him. He's a Texas guy. They got a lot of fans there, so we'll see how it plays out with that. But we'll get right into our Week 14 NFL picks. Had a nice week last week, 11-5, so that was pretty good, and we're going to keep up our stretch. The first game we've got is the Colts and the Bengals. The Colts are not playing good football right now. I'm very concerned about the Colts. Like I was just saying with the Texans last year towards the end of the season, they were not playing good football, and they got bounced right out of the playoffs. This is concerning for the Colts. They're playing a tough game on the road for the Bengals, which the Bengals really need because the Ravens are catching up to them. I think the Bengals are going to get a win here. I have not liked what I've seen out of the Colts. They haven't shown me that they could win this tough road game, so I'm going to go with the Bengals here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals too, Joe. Now we see the Colts, what's truly with this team. The loss of Reggie Wayne has really killed that team and killed Andrew Luck big time. Trent Richardson was supposed to be a great running back for this team, fell off, now he's demoted, he's a backup. This Colts team has completely fallen apart. I really thought they were going to finish good this year. I see them, even if they make the playoffs again, knocked out right away.
Yeah, I agree. The next game we have should be an easy win for the Patriots. They're at home against the Browns. The Browns have been really disappointed, and I thought once things started to look pretty good, but they really fell apart last week. Should not have lost that game to Jacksonville. Josh Gordon put up a huge game. They've been pretty disappointed the last couple weeks. New England's playing very well right now. They should get an easy win at home here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with New England too, Joe. Cleveland, no Jason Campbell, no Brandon Weeden because of concussions. Tom Brady's definitely going to destroy this team.
Absolutely. Now, Rob, we have your Raiders and the Jets. The Jets, things are just not going well right now. We're going to talk about Rex Ryan in a little while, but we'll stay on this game for now. I'm going with the Raiders here. It's just the Jets offensively, they just haven't shown that they can do anything. Ever since the bye week, they haven't done anything on the offensive end. The Raiders actually played pretty well on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. Matt McGloin's playing okay, so I'm going to go with the Raiders here on the road.
Joe, this is it. I'm turning heads. I'm going with the Raiders this week, Joe. I
think this is the first time on the show you've picked against your Jets, so that is telling. That is very telling.
After me going to that Jet game last week versus the Dolphins, scoring 3 points, I just wanted to put a bag on my head after that game. That Jets offense is just pitiful. Geno Smith looks terrible. Matt Sims didn't even look anywhere better, and this Jets team is done, Joe. We are nowhere in the playoff hunt. We're done for the year, I think.
Good assessment by Rob, but don't worry. I'm sorry, Rob. You're going to have some more pain, but we're going to talk a little bit more about the Jets and a few more. So let's stay with the picks, though. The next game you have is the Chiefs and the Redskins. The Redskins just been a miserable season for RG3 and the Redskins. Giants had a nice win against them last week. Some controversial calls at the end, but who knows about that. And the Chiefs desperately need a win. They lost their last couple games. They're really in need of a win. They lost to Denver twice and the Chargers. So they're going to really come out fired up for a win here. I think they'll get a win on the road here. I just think RG3 is really struggling right now. That Chiefs defense is going to step up, and they're going to get a win here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs too, Joe. This team is a bounce-back week. The Redskins have been looking awful. RG3 has not improved whatsoever. A lot of players said he should not have come back this year, that they think his ACL is still bothering him, that injury. He does not look like his normal self from his rookie year. And you know what? The Redskins could have had a top pick this year, the number 2 pick, but they trade away to St. Louis to get RG3. And, this year they lose now in that first-round pick.
Yeah. We're going to see how that development turns out. The next game we have is the Ravens and the Vikings. The Ravens have actually been playing pretty well right now. They played much better at home than they have on the road. They're coming off now with a Thanksgiving win against the Steelers. I like what I'm seeing from the Ravens right now. I think they'll get a pretty easy win against the Vikings here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ravens too, Joe. This team is just on a roll right now. And you know what? I see them making the playoffs.
Wow, yeah, I mean, right now they're playing well, so we could definitely see that. We'll keep it monitored, though. The next game we have is the Falcons and the Packers. A lot of analysts are taking the Packers in this game, but I can't bring myself to pick the Packers after what I saw against the Lions. I mean, the Lions turned the ball over 3 times in the first quarter, and they still won 40-10. Green Bay showed no ability on the offensive side of the ball. I still am holding out some hope for Atlanta. I still think they're a proud team. I just don't see how Green Bay is going to be able to put up some points against the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to score a couple times, and I'm not sure how Green Bay is going to be able to move the ball without Aaron Rodgers. So unless Aaron Rodgers makes a miraculous comeback somehow, I'm picking the Falcons on the road here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons too, Joe. No Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Matt Flynn, Joe, has been just awful for this Green Bay team. And you know, I do see the Falcons winning. They have a better quarterback right now. I think they should definitely get a win versus this weak Green Bay team.
Fair points. The next game we have is the Bills and the Buccaneers. And the Bills, they were one of my few losses last week. Really, really blew that game against the Falcons. I'm going with the Bucs here on the road. I really have liked what I've seen from the Bucs the last couple weeks. Struggled in their loss to the Panthers. But you know what? I like what I see from the Bucs. I think that they're going to get a win here.
I'm going to go with the Bills, Joe, for this one. I think they're a better team than this Buccaneers team. And I think they're going to bounce back after that big loss. I think E.J. Manuel should have a good week this week.
That's one thing I got to be impressed with the Bills on. I mean, they've come back and they've played pretty well. I mean, they've been in most games that they played this year. I like E.J. Manuel a lot. It could be a close game, but we're disagreed on that one. The next one we have is the Steelers and the Dolphins. The Steelers coming off a tough loss to the Ravens, but they were definitely in it to the end. They're home here. I think that the Steelers' offense has gotten better as the season went on, so I think they're going to get a win at home here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers too. Big Ben and company. I think they're going to get back on a roll. This team, you know, they started off pretty bad, and they're starting to find their pieces working together. Miami last week, I wasn't impressed at the game versus the Jets. I really wasn't impressed with Ryan Tannehill. I think he has a lot to continue to work on. But I'm still going with Pitt in this game.
Agreed. The next one we have is a very good game. We have the Eagles, the Red Hot Eagles, playing very well right now. Nick Foles has been unbelievable against my Detroit Lions, and I'm going with the road team here. I'm going with the Lions. The way I see it is this game is going to be a shootout. Both defensive secondaries are very bad. I don't think that the Eagles are going to have an answer for Calvin Johnson, and at the end of the day, I think I got to go with the more explosive offense. I think Nick Foles is playing well, but I think Detroit's got better guys that they can spread around the field. I think Reggie Bush is going to be big. It's going to be a very high-scoring game, but whoever cuts down on the turnovers the most, I think is going to win this game.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to go with Detroit too in this one. Overall, they have the better offense. They have more weapons than the Eagles, and Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Nick Foles.
Yeah. The next one is the Broncos and the Titans. Not too complicated. I think the Broncos will get an easy win at home here.
I think the Broncos will get a win, Joe, but I think there's going to be a competitive game. This Tennessee Titans team has really impressed me the last couple of weeks. Even with Ryan Fitzpatrick as their quarterback, they've really stepped up and have played really close games. And you know what? I see them as a team in the hunt right now who could possibly make the playoffs.
It's a possibility. You know, those last couple spots for the AFC are just so many 5-7 teams, so we'll keep on looking at that. The next game we have is the Cardinals and the Rams. Cardinals have had a nice year, 7-5. A lot of people have been kind of putting them under the radar, but they've had a nice year. Bruce Arians has done a nice job there. They should get a win at home against the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals too, Joe. This Cardinals offense has been playing really good the last couple weeks. This team has really turned around, and you know what? They've been looking good, so I'm staying with them.
Yeah. After that, I've been waiting for this rematch since week 2. The 49ers week 2 went into Seattle and just got smoked. I mean, they couldn't get anything going. It was just a complete annihilation. The Seahawks are coming off a huge win on Monday night against the Saints. But I'm going with the 49ers here. I like what I've been seeing from the 49ers. They're getting all their pieces back. Crabtree is back. Manningham is healthy now. They're getting healthy at the right time. Kaepernick's throwing the ball a little bit better, and Seattle has not played as well on the road as they have at home. And I think San Fran's going to get a win here. They're definitely going to show up. They're going to be fired up for this game. I think they'll get a win.
I like Seattle for this one, Joe. But you know what? I'm looking at this differently now. They're playing at home versus San Fran. And you know, Seattle, sometimes they struggle on the road. But this Seattle team, Joe, they've been on fire the past couple weeks. 11-1. Russell Wilson's having yet again an amazing year. I'm going to stick with Seattle. I just think this kid's on fire right now, and he's leading full charge into the playoffs.
Yeah, this game could definitely go either way, but we'll see who wins that one. The next one we have is the Giants and the Chargers. My dad being a Giants fan, me being a Chargers fan, it's rivalry week in our house. So I got to go with my Chargers here at home. Disappointing loss last week to Cincinnati, but the Chargers have been in every game they played. The defense has really struggled this year. I think the pass rush for the Giants is going to be key here. If they can get pressure on Phillip Rivers, Justin Tuck did a really nice job getting pressure on RG3. If they can disrupt the offensive line and make things uncomfortable for Phillip Rivers, the Giants could very well get a win on the road here. But I think that the Chargers, it's going to be a pretty close game. I think that they'll find a way to sneak in a win at home.
Joe, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I'm going to take the Giants for this week. Overall, both quarterbacks on these teams are really not impressive to me. But I think the Giants overall have the better defense. Justin Tuck just crushed RG3 all last week. And you know what? If he gets his hands on Phillip Rivers, you know they're done this week, the Chargers.
That's going to be key. It's been key all year. When Phillip Rivers has had time to throw and they've protected him well, they've won. They've played very well. In the games where he hasn't had good protection, they've struggled. And I think that's been the theme of the Chargers the last couple of years as the offensive line has deteriorated. Phillip Rivers, any time he has time to throw, he's as good as anybody. But when he's rushed, his mechanics take a long time to set up, and that's a big problem. But we'll see how that one turns out. I'm really excited for the Sunday night game, though. We have the Panthers, Red Hot Panthers, 9-3 against the 9-3 Saints. This is a huge win for the game for the division here, and it's going to be an exciting one. I'm going with the Saints here. I think at home for the Saints, it's a very, very tough place to play. There's no way the Saints aren't going to show up and be fired up after their humiliating loss on Monday night. I think the Saints will show up here. I think the Panthers might beat them in their place, but at home I got to give my edge to the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints too on this one, Joe. They're playing at home, and I really think Drew Brees is going to rip apart this Carolina's defense this week. I don't know. I just really have a heavy feeling that he's going to crush this defense big time. The Saints are going to shut down Cam Newton. I think it might be a blowout week this week.
Wow. Well, we're both agreed, but who knows what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is the Monday night game, the Cowboys and the Bears. The Bears have by far one of the worst defenses I've seen all year. They can't get a stop for their lives. It's amazing how badly this defense has deteriorated since Lovie Smith has left. This defense has just been really bad. I'm not crazy about the Cowboys either, but their offense has played pretty well the last couple weeks, and I just don't see how the Bears are going to be able to come up with stops. I think the Cowboys will get a win on the road here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys too. They've really stepped it up the last couple weeks. And you know what? They're definitely a team to watch out for when they make the playoffs. So I'm definitely going with them right now.
All right, disagreed on a couple, but agreed for the most part as always. But Rob, let's go back to your Jets. Rex Ryan lost his last 3 games after the bye week. They're getting no production offensively. They're getting torched in the secondary, and the way I look at it is it doesn't matter how good you are up front. I mean, we all agree they have a great core of linemen, but I think in this league, it's a passing league. You got to limit the passing game, and I don't know, has he done enough to stay next year?
I have a feeling they're going to fire him, but I really think they should keep him. I feel he's done a great job, especially with this Jets defense. You know, when he first came in here, made that Jets defense into one of the top defenses into the league. But his offense has completely struggled, and that's the biggest problem with this league. There's no production whatsoever from his quarterbacks. I know he's a defensive-minded coach, but I feel he has to get more involved with his offensive players. And you know what? I think he might get fired, though, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Rex Ryan. They've got a lot of big wins here. They beat the Saints, beat the Patriots. I mean, they've had some impressive wins. I mean, we all thought at the beginning of the season, the way their schedule looked, they were going to have a disastrous year. But, I mean, who knows? The problem is I agree with what you said there. I mean, it's an offensive league now. You have to be able to score points. And it just, every time we've seen a really good defense, no matter how good you are, you've got to be able to put up points. And I just don't see that from the Jets. So who knows what's going to happen there. Our man Big Shot Rob, the Jets guy, I'm sure he'll keep us updated on that situation. But let's switch gears for a minute and go to RG3. A lot of talk this week about RG3 and in his year, and it's tough to say if he's going to last. I mean, if he keeps, the way I'm seeing things is if he keeps on running the way he is with the run-first mentality, he's not going to last in this league. You've seen guys like Antrell Roll say he runs too much, and I agree. I mean, when he runs, he gets punished. There's a lot of plays where he's trying to fight for that extra yard instead of just throwing the ball down to a receiver, throwing it away, and he's not going to last in this league. That's what happened to Michael Vick. I mean, you're not going to last. The guys in this league are too big and too strong, and part of the thing I think with him is maybe he deserves a little bit of a pass this year because of the recovery, but next season's going to be big for him. It's going to be telling. I haven't liked what I've seen from their offense this year. They're not explosive enough. I mean, they're trying to do these college read option things where you throw the ball out to do screen passes. They're just not being explosive. They're doing 10 yards, 20 yards here, no explosive down the field throwing, and it's tough because you've got to be able to do that in this league. The big thing, though, I think is Shanahan's got to go. There's no way he can come back. You've seen from day one that him and RG3 haven't gotten along. And if your quarterback and your coach don't have a good relationship, then I don't know what you're thinking about. I mean, you've got to have a good relationship between those two most important pieces of any football team. And I think if the Redskins want to move in the right direction, they've got to get rid of Shanahan at the end of the season.
Yeah, with Shanahan, I think they need to fire him. I'm not impressed with what he's done for Washington. RG3, though, I think he rushed back from this injury, definitely, Joe. And that was a huge mistake. He should have been out a couple more weeks, rested up, practiced more, learned more. This year, I don't know what's up with this guy. He holds on to the ball too long. Yeah, you know what? He's not going to last in the NFL. Just like you said, he's a guy who's always fighting for that extra yard, always running, and that's not what it's about with the quarterback position. You know, the quarterback position over the last couple of years has really changed. You're seeing a lot more quarterbacks who are, instead of throwing, they're rushing the ball, and I don't think that's smart whatsoever because you're destroying your legs, and by the time you're in your early 30s, your legs are done, and then you're just relying on throwing your whole time. So, you know what? This is really killing him. He needs to become a better throwing quarterback overall.
Absolutely. Good points. Sticking with our quarterback, coming out of this draft class, we're going to have a lot of quarterbacks. You have Zach Mettenberger coming out of LSU. Johnny Manziel might be coming out from Texas A&M. You have Taj Boyd from Clemson. Teddy Bridgewater from Louisville. And out of those guys, you know, it's tough to assess who might be the best one. But there's one name that's kind of gaining a little bit of momentum now, and I've watched him a couple times. Derek Carr from Fresno State. A lot of people probably didn't watch him too much. I saw him play a couple times. Let me tell you, I think this kid's going to be a good quarterback. He's got the NFL blood in his family. A lot of people probably remember Derek Carr. He was with the Texans when they came into the league, and he was a good quarterback, but they just couldn't protect him. Their offensive line was miserable. He got sacked all the time. It was a disaster, but he was a very effective backup. Was a backup for the Giants a long time. He was a good quarterback, but this kid Derek Carr, listen to his stats. 2013, this season, 4,462 yards, 45 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He led Fresno State to a good year. He's got a big arm. He's smart. I think he can take command of an offense. I'm not sure if you could plug him in and play right away, but he's definitely gaining momentum on people's boards. On Bleacher Report, Matt Miller, he has him as his eighth spot right now, and I think a lot of scouts I'm reading are very drawing interest from this kid Derek Carr. So I would definitely keep my eye out for Derek Carr. You know, we've got a lot of quarterbacks coming out. There might be some more, but Derek Carr, he might be a name in a couple of years from now. You might be watching and seeing him on Sundays, but we'll see how that plays out. That's going to do it for our NFL segment. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we got a ton of college football. Huge weekend for college football, and when we come back, we're going to talk about everything you need to know, and we'll be right back.